Plato, the price that good men pay for their indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Tonight on the Youth Voice show, we are here to discuss church youth and their civic responsibility. What do young people in the Christian spaces got to do with what is going on in the country in regards to their civic responsibility? And this topic comes in handy, especially when Uganda as a country is headed for the polls in a few short weeks. We are going to be deciding who our leaders are going to be for the next 5 years, right away from the lowest of the offices up to the presidency of the land. And out there, even in the community where you stay, the political heat has intensified. It is at its peak. Accusations and counter-accusations here and there, promises here and there, heated up political rallies, police blockages, and very many things going on here and there. But amidst all this, we want to see the Christian perspective. What do we do as Christians during such seasons? Do we just sit back and wait and we don't do anything at all? What role do we have to play when it comes to our civic responsibility? What can we do as Christians to make the country a better place? Is there something that we can do during the voting season? What is our role exactly? And that's what we're going to be looking at today, the Christian and the civic responsibility. Hosting this conversation, my name is Edison Masereka. I am a teacher, a leader, and a public speaker. And joining me to discuss this interesting conversation, on my extreme right, I'm having my very good brother and friend, Macbeth Otim. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having you. Otim is a lawyer and a practicing advocate. Thank you for coming. And right next here, the only lady on the panel is Miss Caroline Abuo. Carol, it's been a while.
Indeed.
You have been doing so much work for the country, up country, around Kampala. Welcome back to town. Eh?
Thank you.
And,
Thank you so much.
We are glad to have you again. Yes, you are a public health worker, right?
Yes,
that
please.
hasn't changed, eh?
No.
All right, glad to have you back.
Thank you.
And then here we are having our good friend, Alan, who is not new to the show. Alan Mugisha, he's trained as a teacher professionally. He has done marketing, and currently, what are you doing, Alan?
Virtual assistant.
Virtual assistant. He's a man of several talents. We are happy to have you on the show again. And I think you're the right people to discuss this conversation. Alan, you've been quite central in youth activism. That's something that you have done before, right?
True.
You've done youth activism as a student in your days at Makerere, and also you're also a youth leader. You're also a youth leader in different roles, especially in the church spaces. You're doing quite some tremendous work in that regard. And then we're having Carol here, who actually interacts with people in the community.
Yes.
And she's doing quite a lot of work in reaching out to the people in the you've been in a Germany recently.
Yes, I have.
Impacting people in perhaps the lowest of communities. And then we're having an advocate here who perhaps once in a while can take on a few cases pro bono, and he's helping the very people who need the help. Yes, true. So we want to see what is our civic responsibility as young people in the church. What can we be able to do? And to start us off, do you think as young people in the church will have a part to play when it comes to such things as a civic responsibility? I start with you, Macbeth.
Yes, as young people of the church, we have a very big role because church is a unit of the larger community, which is, say, we can use a standard of a district, we can use a country.
Yeah.
So the church being part of the country, and as a youth in church, we have a responsibility, definitely.
Carol.
Thank you, Edison. I personally, I think we really have a big part to play. Because if you look at what civic responsibility means, it means actions that impact a community. So as youths today of the church, we have a lot to play in the community to make it a safe space for everyone, not only for yourself, but even other people. That is what I can say about it.
Yes, Alan.
All right, thank you very much. There's a term you used, youth activist, that really tickled me. It's a good touch to actually what I do. I do believe, in addition, not to differ from my brother and my sister over here, But I'll just add that if at all you're not going to do something about it, don't complain when someone else does something bad about it, because you'll have to bear with the consequences of the other person's action. Yeah.
We are in a voting season. You didn't go to vote, but you're complaining of bad roads.
Exactly.
Perhaps you could have done something by casting a vote for someone who would maybe have improved them. And so we think that we can't sit back and do nothing. We have a role to play as Christians. By the way, there's nowhere in the Bible that stops us from even participating in electoral processes. We can actually contest and vote. I mean, they say politics is a dirty game, but we can play it clean, right? And there have been very many stories of Christians who have done so well in the civic space. They have gone for political offices and they have done so well, and communities have benefited from them. So we can't sit back and fold our hands as Christians and say, no, that's not us. Or of course, we may not. We are going to be discussing extremes, it goes without saying. For example, the stage our country is in at this point, there are two major extremes at the national level. I don't have to mention them. It goes without saying. We don't have to be so radical and everything that we are doing. We are going to be talking about that. How much is too much? True. Do we go on streets and those different things that other people get to do out there? We are going to be looking at that, but also we are looking at how we can be agents of social change as young people in the church. How do we foster development, national growth? How do we foster justice and equality when there's so much injustice going on around in such a heated up political season? Issues of the mob acting out, things like that. How do we come in amidst all those things? Justice beyond church roles. During voting, what do we do? Can we come up with initiatives that actually make such a season a better one? When people are going to rioting or something like that, destabilizing peace and that, what do we do as Christians during such season? And so I want to start off with you, Carol.
Yes.
How can we as young people in the church be agents of social change for the good?
Okay, thank you. So now you see, you being a positive, actually creating a positive impact in your community, you have to first understand the community dynamics that you're in. But even that, you have to make sure that even the people you're doing that to feel the impact at the end of it all. We as youths, we have a lot of things to play. Like the church has provided a very wide spectrum for us to do activities. If you look at the youths, I remember for us in the SDA church, we usually have those youth days that we celebrate globally. They have really been impactful in that you've seen different churches coming up and doing different activities, contributing to the social development. Like you go out in the community, you do outreaches, you do different things, talk to the community members. Actually, others go ahead and hold health camps. At the end of it all, that is doing a social impact in the community at the end of it all. And when they're saying, that SDA church is doing something, they're saying the youth of that church are doing something impactful in this community. So at the end of it all, the government is benefiting because if the people are okay, the government is benefiting. It has people who are going to vote at the end of it all. Yeah, basically.
Yes, Alan.
Yeah.
Being agents of social change.
Being agents of social change. I do strongly believe that a youth who is inactive in the church can't be active outside there. Because the determining phases where it is even easiest is home and church. That means you have a youth group that actually comes and sits and does nothing. We are heading in for a very big time. We have more of watchers than actors. And to make it worse is that at the end of the day, the watchers become complainers. Okay? And when they start complaining, that's when the radicalism comes in. That's when you can't differentiate a youth of the world complaining and a youth of the church. Because once it goes radical, it has gone out of hand. Christianity can no longer play a part. But if at all they learn to be inclusive at church itself. They are guided on how to handle criticism in a controlled environment. And once they learn to handle that criticism and that blowback at the level of home and church, when the radicalism comes in at the national level and in the votings, they can handle themselves better. They can send a better image to the country because they've been trained through participating in the civic rights of the church itself. Thank you.
Macbeth, I want us to talk about, I know you have an opinion in that, how we can be positive agents of change in society, but also he has brought in something, the radicalism. How do we as church youth, how do we avoid, and you're a lawyer, you know that it's so hard for people today to take in divergent opinions. Because we don't agree, then I think you're an enemy. Look at soccer, for example, Arsenal and the Man U, and literally people will fight because
people
of that.
die by the watching
just because
soccer.
we don't hold, there is a common opinion, but we have divergent perspectives about it. How do we be tolerant in that regard, and that we can shoulder people's divergent opinions and we still live harmoniously, even maybe when we might have completely different political opinions?
First, as the youth, we need to understand what society are we living in, and understand, much as we are youth in church, but we are youth to the entire community.
Yes.
Much as we have a responsibility towards our community, we should understand that church also has its regulations, and we must align that, the regulations of church, with the expectations that the community has of us. How do we, as the youth in church, help to tackle this issue of radicalism and everything? We are guided by, you look at the supreme law of our country, which is the Constitution, and as a youth, first of all, and as a lawyer, as an advocate, I would, individually, I would suggest that just like this show, first of all, this show, as the youth in church, it's on Hope Channel, a Christian channel. You find that just by speaking about this, we are contributing. We are giving knowledge to the community. We are educating the people out, the viewers, about what they're supposed to do. It does not take anything away from you if you understood, say, reading the preamble of our Constitution, which is the grand law of our country. There are the articles in our Constitution that would guide you best as a youth in the society and in church. How would you draw a distinction between going extreme and remaining within the confines of the society?
But also, you have to know your limit. At some point, you just have to know your limit. Because honestly, if at all, I assume there are two political parties that are campaigning in one particular area, and you're seeing people going overboard, know your limit as a Christian. Okay, we are in support of the elections and everything, but everything has a limit. Know your self-control, because at the end of it all, it might not affect you, but it affects other people around you. Yes. As you're doing something, as you're supporting something, as you're interacting with doing something, just know your limit.
For example, the Constitution gives me the right to choose who I want. I have a right to cast a vote as a youth.
Exactly.
So I will encourage fellow youth at church members. Polling day is 15th January. Let's go and cast our vote.
And you don't have to be so public about whom you're going to vote for.
Exactly.
Yes.
Cast your vote.
go very early in the morning.
Yeah, maybe remain and watch the.
Should we go back home after voting?
watch the counting and protect your vote. But there are certain extremes I will not reach at.
Yes.
I will not catch a stone.
Exactly.
Pick a stone to throw at a police officer. That will be going overboard.
Yes.
But I've practiced my civic right of casting my vote and protecting it.
Yes.
And
promoting peace.
It reminds me of the issue of dialogue. And I thought of something which was said by Franz Fanon about, he calls it, it's something I had very many years ago, but I just remembered it on this show. Something like cognitive dissonance. When people hold core beliefs and they don't want to entertain anything which is against what they already know, their core beliefs.
Yeah.
And when new information comes in that is uncomfortable and does not agree with what they previously already know, they go into a state that he calls cognitive dissonance. And he says it is because of this, because they want to protect their core belief, they rationalize and they even ignore and even do anything to deny what doesn't fit into what they already believe. And I realize Ugandans are at this point, most Ugandans at least.
Yes.
We are so bad at dialogue. We do not know how to talk about opinions we don't agree with them. All we care after is letting people know what we believe, and we're not even bothering to listen to them. We are so good at ranting, and that's why we can easily maybe demonstrate, because we are so bad at dialogue and talking about things that we deem uncomfortable. If you look at our television stations, most heated up TV stations on political spaces and that, it's mainly, you have extremes mainly.
Yeah.
They don't want to take in anything divergent, even what could be like basic logic. If you go on social media and how people are able to rant, people will defend anything even when they can see it's an open lie, as long as maybe it's been done by a person whom they believe in. They will defend it to their very core. And I want us to talk about that. How do we learn to talk about these uncomfortable things and the beauty of dialogue amid such things?
All right, Edison, I've gotten a chance in my short life to be in leadership of the world and of the church. When I was at Makerere, I was an activist. I was so much into politics to a point that they nicknamed me Wewe. That's a term used in strikes. I got a chance to test what a young person can do when pushed to the wall. And trust me, when pushed to the wall, there's no much thinking. But I also did learn
My
that.
friend obeyed.
I obeyed. Obeyed. And 1 year.
Yes.
I get to learn that it is the problem. The mistake we make is that we tell people what to do after they've done the mistake.
Yes.
Yet we're supposed to tell them what to do before. He talked about the Constitution, which is actually, I do believe it is an elaboration of the 10 Commandments. If you can't handle 10, go with what? A whole book now. But what are we doing as we to actually tell these youths what is the right thing to do? Because in our church setting, once the disciplinary committee is called, that means we've gone too far. That means in that moment, I have to deal with the consequences, whether I want or I don't want. Before, I had the chance to know the consequences. Right now, it doesn't matter if I knew or I didn't know. So we have less of these dialogues at a low scale. Down, let me say 1, 2, 3 people talking about actually, yes, we are voting. What is the procedure of voting? When I finish casting my vote, as you asked that, do I go home or I stay until the raka starts?
I guard my vote.
I guard my vote.
But Alan, just to interject, you see what Edson asked actually, this is what happens. I have my political belief that I believe in, okay? I have something that I'm stuck on. When I come into a conversation with Edson, I'm just going to be, I want to shout on top of my voice and only say my view or my point of view. I don't want to listen to your story. And that is what even other people are doing. If I find you, that's what you'll be doing. Because at the end of it all, that is who we are. But how can we go about that?
Yes.
First and foremost, we shouldn't put feelings in some things. Because what hurts people right now are feelings.
Yes.
If you get too attached to something, and that is what happens with Arsenal and Man U. Attachment. People end up not even talking.
And that's why I'm told by the end of the day, those teams in England, they are not
have no
enemies.
issues.
They have no issues.
Recently, Manu and Arsenal had a friendly behind doors. But here in Uganda, fans are killing themselves.
I am telling you. So that is what happens with the politics and everything that runs around with you being opposing something. We do not want to listen to the other point, to the other side of the view. We just want our stories to be heard and aired out. At the end of it all, we are missing out on how to overcome this issue of us going back and forth on one particular thing.
And what that also leads to is that you have more angry people. You have people who can't face each other and talk to each other. People are so annoyed with each other. Because the other person is, for example, NRM and NUP, we can't even talk.
The oppressors vis-a-vis the
Yes,
The oppressed.
we are neighbors. We are neighbors, but we can't talk to each other. Is that the way things should be?
No.
No, that's not the way things should be. But at the end of the day, just like I highlighted, you don't need to be a lawyer to read even the preamble of the Constitution. It's just 5 pages, just the preamble. You'll understand that there's a lot of knowledge that we are missing out. Now, if you understand some of those basics, you'll realize that you don't need to actually hold anything. You don't need to hold a grudge against a colleague. Because, for example, Uganda, politics, the word politics comes from policies. This is basically how people are going to be governed.
Yes.
And I should have an opinion to that. But at the end of the day, it's the majority that takes the day. If I can't convince my friend here, how sure am I that I can convince Edison, who is far away from me? You get? So in politics, policies, we should know that these are things that affect people's lives. So if the majority do not agree to a policy, then that means probably you're missing out a point. You who is highly campaigning for it, you could be missing out a point. Because if the majority cannot see it from your eye, then probably it's not right for them. Because it's a policy that's going to affect their livelihood.
And you've said politics, and I think we're going to continue from here when we come back from the break. You've said politics comes from, it's more of policies.
Yes.
But do you realize because we can't entertain dialogue and these meaningful conversations, and we are so radical in our interpretation of what these things are, by the end of the day, the person who wins is not the one who is advancing the best policies, is not the one who is doing better debate or discussing more of how social problems can be solved, but the one who is too radical, the one who appeals to the image of what the masses want.
And what the masses want is
by the end of the day,
way.
you have bad policies being passed, and we are complaining.
Yeah.
Now, we're in a country that
Yes.
actually has political parties starting based on a person's emotional response
Yes.
to what they
is
did
happening.
to him in a political party. That since I hate that guy so much, I've started my own policies
We come back
just to
from the
fight
break,
that person.
and then we continue from there. This is the Youth Voice Show, and we are discussing church youth and their civic responsibility. Welcome back from that very short break, and this is the Youth Voice Show here on Hope Channel Uganda. We're discussing church youth and their civic responsibility. What can we do as youth in the church to make our country a better place? What can we do in this intensified political heat? What can we be able to do to foster justice, development, and national peace? That's what we are looking at in this conversation. And in the first segment, we had looked at aspects of radicalism and divergent opinions and lack of dialogues and things like that. And I want us to wrap that up. So amidst all this radicalism and that, as young people, how should we react to this, and how can we be positive examples?
First of all, in amidst all that, try to be a voice of reason. Because once everyone is basing themselves on emotions, as you have said, the next thing is bloodshed.
Yeah.
That's when an intermediary has to come in, advocacy, right? Try to talk sense at a time where sense is seen as rubbish because that's what is needed at the moment. So amidst all that, we as the difference in the community, let's act the difference. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But on top of that, we've seen that at some point, we end up sharing even wrong information.
Yes.
Because I am disagreeing with Alan here, I'll say something that is contradicting. So at the end of it all, I'm sharing wrong information. So let us just be educated and learn. Okay? Let us learn the community issues, learn the civic rights. Okay? Learn things that really are going to help us, not to go berserk in case of anything. But if you know your rights, know how to express them, just be educated and learn.
Recently, before Macbeth comes in, the Daily Monitor was releasing a list of the best performing MPs in this parliament, which is
Yes,
ending.
I saw that.
And you saw the people who topped the list.
Yes.
Some of these people may not even be vocal out of parliament. But now when it comes to advocacy and their performance in parliament, their interactions in parliament, and the substantiality of their work on the parliament floor, that's what determines by the end of the day who was an active MP. And you've been having most of these noisemakers and people who excite the masses outside.
We have corridor parliamentarians.
Yes. They say those who act for the gallery.
Yes.
Maybe there's a media briefing and they are the ones who are...
Exactly.
They only have what to say to the media than on the floor of parliament, which counts.
So by the end of the day, and yet now, Parliament is... One MP was the MP for Chira Municipality. He's a man I respect so much because of his quality of debate and his objectivity in some of these things. He said we have a parliament of over 520 MPs, but the work is done by about 100 MPs. The work can be done by about 100 of them.
Yes, Edison, I was able to read that article, and if you remember very well, 9 out of the 20 were from the National Unity Platform, which has, I think, not even a third.
Are they even 50? Are they even 50, more than 60
They are not.
NUP MPs?
They are not. But 9 out of 20 were from the National Unity Platform, and 11 were from the NRM, which has around 300 MPs.
Yes.
So you can see the difference.
So it goes back to the rest are now part of those in favor say aye, those against say nay, the ayes have it. That's why I was one of my lecturers at campus was telling us that try as much as you can to be not to be just part of the statistics. 90% of 70% of
70%.
count. Be a statistic which counts. Maybe when, like at your workplace, for example, we are looking at how we can be of influence as Christians. On this show before I have said, if maybe you woke up one morning and your company was downsizing, maybe you have been 100 staff and they say, we are sorry, USAID has cut off money, we are going to cut 40 off staff, some critical departments are going to close apart from a few. Out of 100, we want 20. Would you be among the 20? And if you don't beat means you are just part of the statistics that don't count, you know?
Yeah.
So, Christians are not too many. No, but this country is Christian. I mean, Uganda is 95% Christian.
Yes.
95% of Ugandans subscribe to Christianity. We are not a minority in this country, which means if we rose up to do the right things, this country would actually change.
Yeah.
So how do we foster national development and growth? We have bigger problems like poverty. We have bigger problems like disease. We have bigger problems like education and learning and some of those things. How do we as young Christians become positive players to create a difference here? I'm starting with you, Macbeth.
Yes, as part of our civic responsibility, there is a duty to observe the laws. There is a duty to pay taxes. For example, if you woke up one day and vandalized because you are angry and vandalized property that took a share of a taxpayer, say a road,
to build,
you'll not be helping the country. You'll be acting against the country.
Macbeth, by the way, him and I come from the same district. And Macbeth, the last time I went home, I nearly cried.
The road is very bad.
It's not that. It's okay, the road is bad. That's a story for another time. But the problem was, all the road signs have been vandalized. And Windibujo has one of the worst roads in this country in terms of terrain. Like the road is winding through mountains and valleys. It's a very bad road.
Yeah.
Without signs, any new driver on that road is bound to like cause an accident. But all the road signs at every single point of the road have been vandalized. These road signs are not vandalized by government officials. They are vandalized by people
us.
like us, citizens of the country. And so by the end of the day, a bus driver carrying innocent lives is going to cause an accident because there was no sign which told him to divert. Yes.
So we need to remember as citizens and members of the church, let's try to pass out this knowledge to the communities that we stay in. So, for example, community outreaches, we could do an outreach, and we're basically teaching people their responsibilities to the country, because we have to remember that at the end of the day, we have one country, Uganda, of which we all have to coexist happily. Besides of, regardless our differences, our political differences, we have resources that we share as a community, and those resources have to be protected for the common benefit and use of all of us. Yeah.
Carol.
Just to add on what he has said, we as youths, okay, when you talk about poverty, there is a saying that always break the poverty cycle in your family. Be that one outstanding person who breaks that cycle. So as youths, let's embrace working. However small it may be, it is impactful at the end of it all. It not only adds value to yourself, but also the country's GDP. So let's normalize working, because working is really important. But also, we should always look for new ventures, because when you learn something at the end of it all, embrace education.
Yes.
Because if you learn something new, you're adding something, and that something that you're adding is actually doing something, not only in your life, but even the people that see you. I personally, I didn't believe in studying masters, because honestly, it's a waste. People would say it's a wastage of time, it's a wastage of money, what. But when you enter into a master's class, there is something that changes.
Yes.
Your perspective of thinking, your
worldview, and
I'm telling you, like a lot of things change. The environment.
The closest I got to that was orientation. I applied for masters at Mackenzie. I was admitted, and I was in orientation. I feel, and it was.
And you came out different.
My orientation alone changed my life.
I'm telling you, embrace education, embrace working, because those two things can really help. Not only us, not only the church, but also the country at large.
We should constantly seek knowledge.
Exactly.
Continuous learning and improvement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Alan.
All right. Actually, I was going to build on that exactly. We do know. We know a lot actually as a church. But recently I was coming from a burial, and I got a statement that the Adventist church has no problem with it. Actually, it works with the government. And that's the more I'm saying that. It's because you guys don't involve yourselves in civic issues and politics. That means by doing nothing, we are saying we are okay with the status quo. Despite what we know.
But we are not. We are in schools where...
That's what I'm trying to bring, that if at all you know something, you know your rights, teach them.
Yeah.
Do something in the community, as you have said.
The church has given you a very big platform.
You have platforms, but you sit back and
Church
keep quiet about it.
Camp meetings. It has a big congregation.
But you guys were in charge of camp meeting last week as Nansana, right? I think youths were somehow into the camp meeting. But as youths, don't sit back. There's one thing having knowledge. You've studied, this is my master guide, that's why you are an elder. But you sit back and be like, let me watch the status go on as it has been. Learn to stand out. As you said, don't be just a member in church. In my advocacy for the youths, whenever a youth comes and complains about they treat us badly, don't give us anything, what have you done? Do you come and just be part of the church, be part of the community, or you actually do something when something is wrong? We send members of parliament, but I'm going to say this from experience. Those from my local church and my area know it. We have an MP going for government, going for MP Nakawa. You know him,
Yes.
Keno Charles. But the people who are least pushing him again is the church. They're like, he's pushing his own agenda. Yet it would have been us, the church, actually.
One thing that I've
our
learned
own.
with our church is that we do not embrace the resources that we have. We do not utilize the resources that we have.
Especially human resource.
Exactly.
Human resource.
I've seen prominent people, but they just come to church and sit. And after church, they go.
Someone is a high-level professional out there, but they are not adding anything to the church.
Exactly. So I wonder, why do they end up telling us to note down your biography, what in church, maybe updating the church book of its people that it has, but you're not using that information wisely. I've given you my information, like I'm having maybe a bachelor's in this, I'm having this and this.
What are you using that
What are you using that information for? I believe that as a church board or as any society, you're supposed to come up with something that you're saying, okay, every afternoon, we're going to be having different sessions, training people on law, training people on this, training
you have
people
the
on that,
resources
because
to
the
give
resources
that.
are there. And they're not going to ask for money.
Yes.
Let me tell you one thing. Any person who is learned is a free person to share knowledge. They have that.
And you know how much we pay for these services out there?
A lot.
Thank you. So if at all the church can utilize the resources that we have, because I am telling you, people are learned in churches. We have learned people. People are sitting just there with their books. Someone you're like, by the way, they told me that this person is a police officer. Are you sure? Why are you? But why are you? Let's let the churches utilize this, and also the communities. When we are in communities, someone is like, I may fear that place because it's for, that guy is a doctor and all that, but you're not utilizing that doctor. You're not utilizing that lawyer. Why? Because we fear them, because of the status differences. But that shouldn't stop us. We always have community gatherings where these people come. And once they come, utilize that opportunity. And, let them give you, even if it's a pinch of salt, of the salt, it will create a difference.
A professor, a friend of mine, was my lecturer at campus, was telling us of how when he's in a community, and there's maybe a primary or secondary school, he ensures that he's on the board of that school by force. So when he goes, maybe he has gotten transferred, he has gone to a village, and maybe there's a primary school, he will walk there and he say, I'm a professor from this university, and I have to be on your board. Because I can't be here with all this language, and you can't benefit from it.
Exactly.
And that's a problem. We have people with titles and all these things, but what is society benefiting from what you're able to offer, from what you studied?
But even those people with their statuses, they should stop scaring people.
Yes.
Because honestly, why would you build a very high wall for, yet you have community members who are supposed to benefit from you at the end of it all?
John F. Kennedy says that ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. You talked about, we were talking about poverty earlier. There's a meme that after 30, you're no longer from a poor background.
You are the poor background.
And especially poverty alleviation. We are talking about vandalism and some of these things. Protests on the street, burning tires, vandalizing property, and all those things. They are not being done by people who are busy. They are not being done by people who have productive employment, who have things to do, who have deadlines to beat, who have quality life to share or something like that. They are being done by people who don't have something productive they are doing with their lives.
What is really hurting me in all these elections that we are having, the campaigns that we are having, if someone is coming to your particular place, let's say a district or a particular sub-county, you stop work. Why should I stop having my productive day? It's a Monday, for Christ's sake. I've opened my business. So they were narrating to me a scenario that what happened around Namungona when one political personnel was going there. They beat people who had brought their businesses on the road, those hawkers who do business along the road. Why are you selling when the president is there? Why shouldn't I do something just because you've come?
And maybe the other thing we have to say is that by the end of the day, some of these high-profile political figures are driving on the desperation and the ignorance of the masses to foster their agendas. Ugandans mainly are people who survive on handouts. And this is not just in the poor people, it's even in the highest people. Give someone a small handout and you're going to silence them, and they will not have to. The most voices of reason are silenced by simple handouts, and that's why by the end of the day, my old grandmother in the village is going to say, but the MP has been there for 10 years. What have I benefited? I am not voting until I have a kilo of salt or a packet of sugar. And the one who delivers that, that's the one who gets the vote, no matter how good they are or how bad they are. And by the end of the day, the political figures are riding on the fact that the masses are desperate.
Yes.
How can we get rid of such things?
How can we get rid of such things? First, I think the government has to be deliberate on some things. Government policy, what causes this disparity, first of all? I don't want to sit and castigate someone who is desperate without blaming the cause of the disparity. Yes. There has to be a cause, and we need to look at the causes and look at the causes and find solutions to what is causing these people's disparities. For example, you find that in Uganda, someone starts a business with 2 million, 5 million, and it does not get to live past 2 years. Why?
Actually, research has proved that most of our first-time businesses don't go past the first or second birthday in this country.
Exactly. So we need to look at those things, because when a person is home-seated, he has nothing. So when someone brings, even if it's above shop, they'll look at them as a lifesaver.
Someone who cares about them.
Yes, and they'll end up making the wrong decisions.
Than the one who went and advocated for better roads.
Yes, yes. So we need to look at what is leading to the disparity of our masses. Yes.
Alan.
My take would be, these bad people that we are complaining about are a reflection of us. Because if at all it's a corrupt leader, just know you're the ones who produce that leader. That means even in the campaigns themselves, let's learn to ask the right questions. Because trust me, if a person is campaigning and is challenged in that way, he'll learn through that process of campaigning that people who have sent me are not easy. But if at all...
You reminded me of something. Another famous figure in this country recently was saying that today the parliament is full of voters. The people who should be voting people to go to parliament are now the ones who are in parliament.
Seriously, we are a reflection of the parliament, actually, because that's how bad it is. If at all we learn to challenge these people on their road to there, they'll know how angry the people who are sending them are. Otherwise, we are going to keep on in the process whereby they give you 1 kilogram for a vote. And they'll go by like, that one, if at all your worth was just a kilogram of rice, I already paid you. So you are not demanding me anything.
Yes.
So the civic knowledge that we have to attain has to drive us to an extent of actually challenging these people to know that they are supposed to represent us because we know what we need. They know the answer to give us what we need. We know what we need.
I am wondering if, for example, you look at somehow the quality of MPs that we have, if that's the quality we have at national level, what is the quality we are having in our district councils, in our sub-county councils? Actually, I know those ones, local government is very critical in this, with the decentralization we have in the country. Local government is very critical. I mean, most of the decisions now which affect the local person, forget the policies at parliament level, but now the government, the local council district has received maybe 1 billion shillings for roads, for schools. What should be done with this money? If we have this quality at national level, just imagine now the quality we're having in district council, which is now going to appropriate these funds. And I think somehow that speaks to the quality of service delivery we have in the country.
Exactly.
The road begins from the very bottom. So as we finalize, how do we as Christians ensure that our country is better in some of these things?
When you look at our country as Uganda, actually they say 80% are youths. And it being a young population country, we really have to do something at the end of it all. So as youths, let's create an environment that is suitable for everyone. In that, let us do our part Let us know our civic responsibilities. And once we master that and know that, we shall make this Uganda a better place to be in. We should not blame any other person for anything that goes wrong in the country where we stay. Because at the end of it all, it is us who are advocating for anything bad that is happening in the country. We decide we are the biggest population. Thank you.
Thank you for reminding us
Just
of
to
our
add on
power.
that, I think as youth in church, since we say that as the youth were the majority, let's actually be part of the people who are going to make the decisions. How? Let us cast our vote. Let us also contest for these decision-making positions.
Next time there is a chance, yes.
Yes, if there is a chance next time, let us be part of people who are going to make the decisions.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I may get your view, but then when I was getting there, I had an agenda, and I will work towards advancing my agenda. So if it is a Christian, if it's a Christian's agenda, we know we are in safe hands. So we need to fold the sleeves of our shirts, get involved in the decision making of our
It
country.
reminded me when Mook got a guild president who was an SDA.
Or recently, Maseruka. And he did good.
Yeah.
He did good. I've
Yes.
seen quite a number of young men who are Christians and they have gotten into politics. They do a lot.
Yeah.
He really did
Kenya had
something.
a Christian chief justice, and he did so much for his country.
Yeah.
Zambia has an Adventist president, and he's doing good things for his country.
Yeah, yeah.
Because by the end of the day, he has God to put him to check and they ask him, "What are you doing?" He has a high authority controlling him.
Yeah.
And even Uganda here, we have at some point we have had the vice president. Chiseka, Samson Chiseka. His name lives on to this day.
Exactly.
He was a good man. We are told that we are not there during his days. So it's a good thing when you have people who have the fear of God getting into political spaces, no matter their religious affiliation. Even if it's a Muslim who fears God,
Yes.
who knows what they stand for, and they go there and they are willing to stand for what is right, the country is going to be transformed. Alan, your parting shots.
Then my parting shot would be, as youths out there, be present, be available, be willing to deliver when the chance is there. Because what we want is not going to be just given to us. We'll have to either go to it or actually, to some extent, grab it and hold it. Don't just sit back.
Thank you very much. And to the young person out there, there is no savior in some of these things. We might be our only saviors. On a previous show, we said that we can't keep complaining when our hands are folded. You say, may God bless. God can't bless the works of your hands when your hands are folded.
True.
Let's get to work and let's do something productive. This country belongs to us. We have no other home. It's us to change it. And like we've said, we are the majority. We have so much to do in terms of making this country better is concerned, in terms of the political decisions we make, the voting decisions we make, participating in civic spaces here and there, and fulfilling our civic responsibility. But by the end of the day, we can make this country a better place or we can destroy it. May we choose the best for this country and we steer it forward in the right direction. It's been a pleasure having you as part of this conversation. Thank you for watching. Thank you for always following us. You can continue watching this show on YouTube, Hope Channel Uganda. You can share, you can subscribe, you can recommend others to watch this show. It's been a pleasure having you. From myself and the rest of the team here at Hope Channel Uganda, see you next time.